hello there. This is your hostess for the next little while. This is Dr. Janet Franco, also known as Soulful Rosie. And you know what? It's been almost 40 years now since I did my first broadcast. And back then it was talking about the healing and the miracles of my son Brian and my children. And then all these years later, I've had the absolute privilege and honor of talking and interviewing and knowing experts all over the world to bring these state-of-the-art products and services to you, especially the time we're living in. And as you can see, we have some people here with us today. We have a couple distinguished guests with us. And I'm going to start this so-called, we have the view out there, right? So we're going to be the review of what's going on in our world and what we have for you and some of the solutions. But before we get to that, in our second half, we're going to open up, and I want to introduce you to these wonderful people here with me today. First of all, again, after all these years of advocating for veterans and advocating for battered women and children and all these things that I've been involved with over the last almost 40 years now, I'm really honored and privileged to be able to introduce to you the Triple Crown of Health and Wellness. So with that said, I'd like to bring on our resident physician, Dr. Denise Tropia. And she's been with me now for a while, and she's a podiatrist, a practicing podiatrist here in Las Vegas, a surgeon, so she definitely knows that western side of the world, right? So Dr. Denise, talk a little bit about yourself, and then let's get into the Triple Crown.
Well, thank you, Janet. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Always a pleasure, and especially since we have our guest here today, even more so. Yes, I've been in the medical field for about 35 years now. Yes, a long time. Been through a lot with it, seen a lot, done a lot. And now it's time to really bridge Western medicine and what proven alternative modalities there are. And they're proven. They've been around for a long time. What the Triple Crown of Health and Wellness is doing is bringing it together. We're merging together what we can do to truly help people to regain and maintain their health. When we talk about the Triple Crown, yes, there's 3 segments. The first segment is the Sapphire Jewel. And with the Sapphire Jewel, that's blue, that's oxygen, hydrogen. Oxygen is what we need for life. You know, if we're not breathing, well, I think there's a problem. So, but what we talk about is how we can enhance oxygen into our bodies. Oxygen, yes, this is what we breathe, and we have it all around us, and we can't see it, but it is such a powerful element. It is an element that's able to turn on over 8,400 genes, and it is doing so much in our bodies that, you know, it's too numerous to mention right now. But we talk about different ways, such as hyperbaric oxygen. We talk about oxygen where you can breathe it in through exercise with Live O2. We also talk about how we can increase the microcirculation, which is so important.
Yeah.
So this really encompasses our Sapphire Jewel. When we get to our Emerald Jewel, we're talking about DNA. DNA, yes, it's a word that we've heard for a long time now. It's been a very catchy phrase, what's your DNA like, etc. But with DNA, we have to realize that that is our blueprint. And this is how we go through life with different modalities that we have to help us steer in what direction can we improve our DNA. Mm-hmm. And how we know that what's on our mother's side, our father's side, but yet our DNA may not have to be our destiny. And so what we talk about is...
What'd you just say?
Our DNA is not our destiny.
Does not have to be our destiny.
No, it does not.
You heard it here, folks.
That's right.
That is a big line right there.
That's right. And that's very true, because there are things we can do to alter that.
Yes.
Through lifestyle, through supplementation, and through repair.
Yeah.
And repair has been a really big item that we talk about.
Yes.
And why?
Thank you
because
for
our DNA is
watching
getting
Let's
broken
Talk
down
World.
day in and day
I
out.
hope you enjoyed.
Numerous times a day. So when we want to stop that aging process, yes, absolutely. We want to slow it down. Let's slow it down and let's turn it back. Okay? We know it's inevitable. You know, our bodies are going to wear down. But can we do that more gracefully? Oh, yes.
Well, we got people here today.
I think everybody likes that.
Yeah.
So that's the emerald portion. And then we go to the quantum. The quantum portion of it is just so exciting. The quantum shift is here.
Amen.
And we have quantum scientists right next to us. How exciting it is. But with quantum, what we're actually doing is helping to educate. I think that's the main thing, is education, because quantum physics has been around years and years and years, and those scientists have been in the backdrop for hundreds of years. And we know now that quantum is right here, right now, because this is the time we're living in. Things that we cannot see, but they're all around us. It's the life force inside of us and are all around us. Everything has a quantum field. If it has spin and molecules, as Warren talks about, then it has quantum energy. So we are just so excited to bring all this to the table. And I have sitting right next to me Warren Hanchey. We call him the father of quantum. And why? Yes. It's because he started working with holograms back in 2006. So, that's a long time ago. And he has probably come so far, and we just love learning about his technology, in which he's able to imprint them into holographic bands and filters. And we'll discuss all that. If not now, we have we have a library filled with videos on that. But what he's doing is he's helping our bodies to realign themselves. When our bodies realign ourselves through energy, this is how we heal ourselves. And we help all the toxins that are around us be diffused in order for us to remain as healthy as possible. So he has a company known as 8, in which manufactures filters and pendants, like the one I'm wearing with the hologram, bands that can be wearable. And what we're seeing is that people are getting results without having to take medications with toxic side effects. So, Warren Hanchey,
welcome to the review.
Well, thank you.
Welcome. And we have a couple other great guests with us. We have our resource coordinator, Fran Gatto, here with us today, and we were so excited about you guys being here, so we invited Fran on, and also we have Blair, and he's a wealth of information that we'll get to in a second. So, but right now, you are the man of the hour, and we'd love to hear from you, the horse's mouth, but you don't look like a horse.
I hope not.
So Warren, what we take our phones and we know it works, and we don't question how this is working, but this is based in quantum, right?
Right.
So explain to people that have never, quantum is hard to teach. I've tried since I met you.
Yeah, it is.
So explain, what is quantum energy? What is it?
So quantum refers to the quantum field that is around us all the time and literally extends to the end of the universe. And what we've determined is a way to be able to tap that field and generate energy out of the field in our programming. So one of our products right now that we're really selling thousands of a month is our filter, our Protect filter for cell phones. And the situation that we've got is that the towers are beaming the cell phone at 2.4 gigahertz, 2.5, somewhere in that range. And we've developed a way to literally filter that signal to keep it from being so harmful to the body. And in addition to filtering the signal, we're able to modulate that signal and send positive health information to the body. We've actually been able to do demonstrations on this, programming like ATP into Dasani water. When Dasani start off with no ATP, we literally can put the Dasani on the back of a cell phone on top of one of our filters, turn the cell phone on, and the water turns into a positive test for ATP. So we're sending...
real quick, I know what people that don't understand ATP, I know we've talked about this before. What is ATP for those?
Yeah, so adenosine triphosphate is literally the fuel that powers every cell in your body. Same for plants, same for animals. If you don't have ATP, you got a big problem. You're going to be listless if you're not dead. So you've got to have ATP in the cells of your body. One of the issues we've got with the virus right now is that as the virus cuts off the oxygenation of the body, causes clotting, causes different problems with the red blood cells, we can have that same situation coming from the cell phones. So our bodies are made up of what's called colloidal water. This is really important to understand. The spectrum, the energy spectrum of water generally, if you looked out into outer space on a telescope, the frequency range of that water is 22.35 gigahertz. But when you get into the intercellular water, it goes all the way down to 2.45 gigahertz, which is in the same range as microwave radiation. So when that signal comes in at 2.45 gigahertz, it's literally going into resonance with the water in our body. And it can literally dry up the water that's in our body. And also an area that we focus on a lot in the quantum area, the quantum physics area, is the surface charge of the cells, your red blood cells, your white cells, which is your immunity, are a negative charge by nature. We were born like that. That's the way we're supposed to be. Now, when we eat toxic foods, we drink toxic drinks, that charge can become conglomerated in our body, can roll up into strings, and when that happens is the oxygenation of our body goes down. And these are easy things to measure with oximeters and different meters. Well, the bad thing is not only are we deoxygenating our body from the foods we're eating, also the radiation from the cell towers is doing a similar thing. So we're getting a quantum hit on the oxygen in our body, and now all of a sudden we've got a virus that's doing a very similar thing also. So we're getting a triple hit on the oxygen in our bodies, and most of the people that are dying, they're dying from lack of oxygen. That's the reason they're using ventilators and units like that, when in effect, they would be a lot better off to use oxygenating machines instead of ventilating machines, because the oxygen is gone to start with. So how are you going to ventilate something that it's not there to start with? So oxygenating the body is a big deal. We've shown definitively over and over and over again that we can literally convert that cell tower signal into a positive effect and separate the roped up red blood cells, increasing the oxygen in the body, and it's as simple as putting one of our filters on a cell phone.
Well, where's the filter? Right there, Dr. Denise, right?
Yep, that's the filter right there.
Simple as that. So explain the difference between, I know you just did a great job, but explain the difference between blocking, so some companies out there saying they're blocking the signal, and filtering.
Right. From our standpoint, the claims of blocking are ridiculous, and here's the simple reason. If you block the cell tower signal, you're also going to block the modulation of that signal. So all the cell tower signal does, the RF radiation, is carries your voice, which is a modulation. It carries the video, which is a modulation. It carries the text, which is a modulation. So if you, in fact, block it, which you can do by putting your phone in a sheath that's enclosed, you can block it like that, but then you don't have the ability to talk on the phone, see videos, or the things we want to use phones for. So we opted to go the filtration route. And listen, we were the first company in the world to develop a protect filter for cell phones in 2008. So we've got a dozen years experience in doing this. We've run gazillions of tests on it. So we know that we never claim that we're blocking anything, but we are filtering it, and we are further modulating that signal to send healthy information to the body.
Amazing. I know Fran and Eric, I know you guys we talked before the show started about a couple questions that we had for Warren. Do you guys want to ask him a question, Fran or Eric?
Sure, I'll ask. So, Warren, we have these lovely bands, and I'll just, with the hologram on the back of it, along with the pendant.
Right.
So can you just explain how that works? Because it's not actually a filter, but it's a pendant with a band.
Right. So technically, it is still filtering. The reason we did the pendant was because not everything is being generated from the cell phone. We have radiant energy around us that are coming from these towers. The first thing that's going to be hit in any radiation environment is going to be the thyroid. So we developed the pendants to be able to go over the thyroid and pick up that radiation into the thyroid. And here's something else that's really important. So how can the detrimental effects of the signal get into your body? If you're holding the phone, it can get in through your hand, obviously. If you're holding the phone, it can get into your wrist, obviously. So one reason that we started developing the wristbands is because the filtration is going to modulate the signal coming into your hand. Then we want to further block the signal from running into the rest of your body, so we developed the bands to be able to do that.
So it shields it.
So it's shielding it in that case. So that's the only time we say we're actually coming close to blocking. We're shielding it by further modulating it and making it a non-event going into the body.
Thank you. Excellent.
What about measurement? So is there any way for us to measure our homes and measure our businesses and see if what the level of radiation is, and then maybe after the filter to see if we're always in a safe environment that way?
So any house can be measured at any time. Most of the radiation in your house is going to come from the router or the modem. And when you tune it to one of the devices that are out there, and you can buy one for $120 or so, that actually is a really good radiation detector. It can detect the electric field, the magnetic field, the RF radiation coming in. And literally, I would bet that nearly 100% of the homes in the U.S., when you turn that meter on, it's going to show 2.45 gigahertz or higher of radiation coming into that house. That is kind of a problem, but the amplifier is the phone. So if you're away from the phone and you're getting the ambient radiation like that, not a good thing, but it's not going to kill you. And you've got to be a little bit careful. A lot of people turn their routers off at night, probably a really good idea. A lot of people get away from the plugs in their bedroom area. One big thing to get away from is if you got a TV in your bedroom and that blue light is on at night, you're literally being radiated right out of your TV, even if the TV is off. And this is a big discussion we might delve into a little bit in the second segment, but this is a really big problem that nobody basically is aware of.
So what's going on during that? I know you said later we might talk about that, but what's happening with that blue light? What's going on? Is it coming from the blue light or from the whole TV, or is it just...
It's coming out of the beam of the blue light. And that, so you can pick up a phone and you can talk to somebody, okay, back and forth with a conversation. But how would you like to have a conversation with that blue beam that you don't know what's coming at your body? There could be information coming at your body to literally subliminally cause you to want to do certain things that you don't want to do, to buy certain products that you don't want to do. Way back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when I was a baby growing up, I remember they banned this from movie theaters. Because they got to the point that they were running these background programs and literally programming the people that came into the theater.
Can I put a sticky note on it?
So, well, we cover ours up.
Wow.
But
hold on right there, Warren. We have to take a quick break, and I know you guys are on the edge of your seat. So we will be back. This is Dr. Janet Franco, also known as Soulful Rosie. We are here with the father of quantum, Warren Hanchey, Eric Blair, and we will be right back. Thank you.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything So let's bring the community together. And let's bring the world to you. Join us now. We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
We are now reaching our second year anniversary on our inspirational, educational, and entertainment programmings. As part of our journey, we are so grateful to announce that our programs are now available to watch live in real time on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Periscope. A big appreciation to all our followers, viewers, supporters, and to those who are cheering for our success. Thank you very much for your patronage. For 2 years we have produced over 25 shows. And joined by passionate collaborators, individuals, and organizations. Social media shows network's 2-year anniversary.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now.
We are back. This is, let's just call it Soulful Rosie. And I have a beautiful panel here today. We have our resident everything over there, Fran Gatto, and we have Blair here, and he's working with some amazing people around the world. And this technology you're learning about today, all of us are having a lesson. Even though we've worked a lot together, it just seems like every time you talk, it's just like another universe that you talk about when it comes to quantum. And so those out there that are really suffering, our heart goes out to the families that obviously have lost people in this is horrendous thing that we're all facing regarding the virus. And so we want to bring some good news to you. In this second segment, we're going to get in and we're going to dig into what we're calling our triple crown of health and wellness, our dynamic duo. And that is the DNA repair, which we're going to talk about in a minute, how that measured, right? And the DNA repair and this wonderful man that's come up with all of these quantum products and substrate materials and things that you can use for you, your family, your children. We're going to talk about schools. And so all that said, let's go back to what we were talking about. Eric, you were talking about the beam, the blue beam.
The blue beam.
The blue beam.
Blue beam from hell, obviously. That's kind of very nefarious in itself. But it's amazing to me that this little blue beam has that much potential, that much power to do what you're describing, that now has me a little more scared than
Yeah,
the
it's
stuff I
also
know.
it's also a sleep disruptor.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you don't want any light in your bedroom at night. So
Oh,
we're
that's
talking
why I'm
in,
not
in
sleeping.
regards to bedroom
I
TVs.
don't
You
do
want
that.
zero light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about other, like I've stayed in hotels where, microwave, TV, they've all had some little tiny light. And I've often wondered to myself, okay, why even have the light? What just to say that it's on? Is that what we're supposed to believe? I mean, it's like this, oh, well, just to let you know it's on, that it's got power to it, but is it even a little more than that? And is it also more than just a blue beam? I mean, there's red, there's
I
orange,
doubt it.
yellow.
I doubt the microwave beam is more than just a blue beam. I think the blue beam has to be tied to the Wi-Fi for it to be an active beam. So I think just the other lights are just, again, if you're in a hotel room, you don't want light. So
Right.
it's all disturbing. We put towels over those things.
Yeah, I just take chewing gum.
Yeah.
That works for me. But speaking of beams, because I'm kind of the bad guy here on the panel because I have been instrumental in working on 5G. Whether it's towers and satellite dishes and that kind of thing. I'm kind of the dichotomy of this technology because I've had one foot here, one foot there, right? So I'm Chief Communications Officer, and before with a company called WorldLink and Cybercom. But the thing that kind of had me leaning in other directions when I would always see these placards go up around these towers. High microwave, concentration. I mean, they're scary, right? I know it's kind of a CYA kind of a thing, but let's go so far as even the ADRs in military. So explain. I know you know more about that than I do, so I'm not going to try to. I'm not know enough to be dangerous, but not exactly what you probably know.
So the ADRs, that stands for Active Denial System. The Army has these systems. They've had them for years. Actually, with all the riots going on, I'm stunned that they have not brought these out.
Well,
So the ADR runs at roughly 95 gigahertz, and it's an antenna. And if there's a crowd and they want to disperse that crowd, they can aim that antenna at the crowd, and within seconds, the skin on their bodies will feel like it's on fire. And literally, the moisture in the skin cells start acting like additional antennas and propagate through the whole body.
that helical, isn't it? Antenna.
Yes.
That they kind of start integrating with each other.
Yes,
almost like
everything
a-
starts
yeah,
working together,
like
and
4
literally,
million or more.
yeah, it'll
pores.
put your body totally on fire in seconds. So that's 95 gigahertz, and as you step down, the next big serious range, and again, this has been there in the telecommunications industry for a long time, transmitting at 60 gigahertz. Well, the issue with 60 gigahertz is that if you take moisture in the air and you hit it with 60 gigahertz, all of a sudden you see a huge spike in the radiation effect on that moisture. Well, what's happening is the molecule of water is going crazy. The electrons are going crazy in the water molecules at 60 gigahertz. When that hits your body and then hits the hemoglobin in your red blood cells, the hemoglobin can't detect what's happening. So instead of picking up the oxygen, the hemoglobin becomes disrupted also. The oxygen content in your body goes down, and we're being beamed with those signals constantly now.
So we thought cancer was bad before, right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it-
yeah.
And is that what causes them, the red blood cells, to clump up
Yes.
and they cannot
I think it
function
was actually
properly?
Hebrew University that actually did the study on that in Israel. I can't remember what year, probably like 2002, but they talked about the helical antenna effect on the
Right.
skin, even at very low levels,
Right.
not even at 60.
So now that we've scared everybody out of their wits, what do we do to maybe counteract that? Is there something we can take internally? Can we put like lotion that have holograms? Am I promoting? Yes, I am. So what can we do to protect people? What can we do?
Well, in the high frequency range from the transmitters, again, that's been there for a long time. And all you can do, I think, is literally work to re-separate the red blood cells and reoxygenate the body. So if you've got a regimen where you're taking oxygen, like with Mark's machines there, Live O2 is an example. If you're taking oxygen, that's a plus to build your red blood cells back up. There are also some supplements that can help with getting the internal part, the hemoglobin, built back up. You can't destroy hemoglobin because then you can't oxygenate the body at all. It's a combination. And the virus is making all this even worse because it's kind of doing the same thing. The oxygen can't get into the hemoglobin to do its thing because the virus is congesting the transfer effect there into the hemoglobin. So kind of a real mess, but we're working on different ways to remediate this problem, and I think we've already got some great stuff out here, and we'll keep making it better and better.
Well, we've talked about what people do on a daily basis. Americans are really hard to change habits. Have you noticed?
Right.
So, but they drink coffee, right? They don't drink enough water, but they drink a lot of coffee. So is that a substrate material that can handle a hologram or something that we could actually put in there and as we're ingesting our coffee? Is that a way to protect ourselves?
Yeah, ATP.
Things like that?
Coffee is really good for you. It has a huge antioxidant effect. It's a polyphenol type product. Polyphenols have the highest antioxidant content. Dr. Denise probably knows more about this than I do, but one of the really cool things about polyphenol structures is when we're going to transmit, let's just say we're going to extract information from a certain material and transmit it into another material, it's the molecular structure of the polyphenols that transmit the best because it creates an antenna structure that will fly on the wave that we've created. So we really are crazy about polyphenols.
And then you can also make it more alkaline in the meantime.
And it could make it more alkaline. Yeah, you could change the alkalinity just like you're changing the surface charge on the cells.
And that's very important.
So
that's very important.
We talked about having like a little dropper of maybe a 1 or 2 ounce and be able to imprint that so that you can put it in their water before they go to school or actually to support the immune system, to keep it solid. Now let's go into the next subject before we're done here because this is a lot of information. But let's talk about the stadiums.
Okay.
So a lot of these stadiums are being built with 5G, probably the airports too, right?
Like
And so we're going to be walking in these microwave ovens, basically, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do, or what's going on in that arena, and then what can we do to neutralize it a little bit?
So the biggest fear that I have, we live in the South. Football is a big thing. The stadiums now are all pushing 100,000 people in these stadiums. Well, think about what I've just told you, and think about 100,000 cell phones texting, and look at this great play and videos going out. It's going to cause a huge centralization of all those frequencies. Not only is the stadium really wired to be sure everybody has great communication, but that wiring is going to be amplified by all those cell phones being in one location. So it's scary. It's scary. And probably we're going to start seeing some issues in that at least by next year, I'm thinking.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Definitely. You're seeing it more and more with all these chronic fatigue syndromes, increased rise in cancer. We just don't have that.
Situations.
So we are working with a potential large stadium. We won't even say who they are, but we thought about putting maybe a vending machine in the stadium where people can come in and buy the filters and just put them right on their phones and educate people, because you can't change technology. It's going to happen, right?
We all want it. We all want it.
We all love it.
But we know that there are solutions.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's why this is so vitally important for people to take heed of this and share this video with as many people as you can. Go to our website, soulfulrosie.com, ROSIE.com. It'll probably be on the screen there. So go there and do your education. I'll hyperlink you to the Triple Crown of Health and Wellness website. It's all education. We've really taken the time. Dr. Denise and I put all this together to be able to educate you. So you raise awareness and you change your choice. So with what's going on right now, take your power back. I mean, people are in fear everywhere. False evidence appearing real, right? FEAR. So let's take our power back, and yes, Fran. She's like a little kid that goes, let me ask a question. Go ahead.
Lauren, I have a question for you about animals.
Okay.
So our fur babies and how would this all work to help protect them? and you could explain.
No,
that.
this is great. Animals respond just like humans do. If you think about a horse, if you stand the horse up on his back legs and take a picture of him, he's going to look just like a human. So, so their bodies respond just like ours. So another big area that our company is in is the hemp CBD oil area. And as far as I know, we're the only company in the world that actually further programs our CBD oil. And my daughter, who basically runs that company, she has a little dog, and the little dog gets seizures. And every time the dog starts really shaking and stopping moving, and she'll give him a couple of drops of our CBD oil, and boom, the dog is back up running all over the place again. So we see instant results from seizures with the CBD oil, and we also think that as far as the hemoglobin in the red blood cells, because CBD has 3, 6, and 9, the red blood cells are going to function better if you're using CBD oil as a supplement.
Well, it's important to have that chain balanced, because if you have one too high, you got arthritic problems, and so you have to have the 3, 6, 9s, and 12s, and the CBD oil offers that. And I know for me, being an acrobat for many, many years, the injuries, I'm doing pretty good considering all the injuries. But I had a bone spur grow on my foot, and it's really hard to walk around on a nail. And so I've been using the CBD oil and the Immunogen, and it's miraculous.
Oh, that's great.
People that know me know I'm not limping anymore. I couldn't even get, like sometimes you get up in the middle of the night. I won't tell you what I was doing, but I get up in the middle of the night. And I would just fall with pain because you put your foot down and you just don't realize because the blood and oxygen isn't down there, right? And so I've noticed a massive change with that. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. So Dr. Denise, did you have any other, I know we're kind of running out of time here, so did you have any other insights or any comments that you want to
Yes,
share?
I'm glad we brought about animals and
Yeah.
also children.
Yes.
Said they're growing, they're developing,
Yeah.
and they're so much more sensitive to the environment. And when they're playing with the cell phone or those iPads,
Oh, I know. You said the
look at
iPads
the
are the worst,
antennas
right?
on those
Yeah,
iPads
the most
as well.
dangerous unit out there is the iPad,
And-
bar none.
Yep.
Way worse than the cell phones.
Wow.
And these kids are playing with the iPads, and
So
a
they
child's
need
body has more
filter.
water than an adult. Water tends to go away as we get older and older, and the higher the water content, the more they're going to be affected from the radiation.
So how do we protect our kids besides what they're playing on a daily basis? Again, just CBD oil, and tell the story about that teacher. That it was such a cute story. Tell it.
Yeah, I actually had a doctor that came to me, and he said, Warren, I want to start giving my kids your CBD oil. And they were just average students. And it was kind of funny because when he called to give me a recap, he said, you won't believe this, but every morning I've got 3 children, and they line up at the door for my wife to come by and give them their CBD oil before they leave to go to school. And he said, over the course of 30 days, their grades started improving and improving and improving. And he said there was no question in my mind, the CBD oil was creating a better environment in their body for them to learn, giving them more focus, and with more focus, they were picking up more information. And that was just a great story for me to hear, kind of
With
being
the
a
schools and
formulator.
all these stuff going on with the schools, what a great idea.
Yeah.
To be able to really support these kids.
And as we well know, that the basis of disease is so highly related to nutrition, the poor nutrition that we have. So we really need to get that education in. We need to bring it to the forefront now that what can we do to empower ourselves and the people around us. So
One thing I want to point out too was that when I was doing some research on this, and I wrote that article, there were so many schools, churches, fire departments, hospitals, that all were getting 5G towers installed on them, near them, around them. And of course, companies say, hey, can we borrow your property? Here's X amount of dollars a month, and they go, oh, that's a great idea. But to have some of these towers right next to schools, if your kid's in school for 7 hours, or at church for 2 hours, or whatever.
And then they're wearing the masks, they're not getting any oxygen. It's really a
and some
dynamic
people
deal.
may be so much more sensitive than others.
Right.
So a child may get seizures from that. someone may, who knows?
I know we've mandated
Constant
these
exposure.
masks
Yeah.
across the country, but I do want to make mention, every time I go somewhere, I said, are you breathing, every hour, going
Yeah.
in the bathroom and taking 10 or 20 deep breaths because you're mandated to wear these things. I don't know, God bless our first responders and God bless the people that have to wear these masks because we all do, right? But the technology and what we have, the science of what's going on, you need to breathe. And so you really taking heed to what we have here is so vitally important for you. You need to pay it forward now. There's no more complaining out there. People are always saying to me, do a
If you're
show
more
on...
than 6 feet, take that mask off.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need driving in your car with a mask on or riding a bike with a mask on. It's just, you've got to have that oxygen in your blood system.
It's vitally important. So to round up this amazing time together, let's just talk about ImmuneRegen for a minute. You measured it. Now, ImmuneRegen has been studied for, 65 years now, Dr.
Yeah,
Denise?
in Europe, yes.
And Europe, and it just got its FDA clearance here in the United States for DNA repair. I said that, DNA repair. So we thought we'd send a bottle over to Warren and have you measure it like only Warren can do. So share with them what you discovered on that.
Yeah, we actually get products sent into our 8 labs in Atlanta all the time from all over the world. Hey, can you take a look at this? Can you measure what you can measure from it or figure out if you can tell us what you see in there? People get results, but they don't understand why they're getting results. And with the ImmuneRegen, we got the highest reading of ATP content of any mixture that we've tested since we've been doing testing. So it was off the scale. Not sure why. It doesn't spell out that it's doing anything with ATP, but some combination of the ingredients that are in the material is literally creating an ATP signature. So it was impressive.
Well, we're working on putting the ImmuneRegen in the bands now. That'll be available in the not too distant future. And can you imagine being able to put those on our children, right? And because they don't want to do what they do, but they can wear a band.
Right. No, it'll be super for that.
Kids will be. Now, can you put holograms in clothes?
Sure.
Wouldn't that be an interesting substrate material to use for?
I'm
I mean, you
thinking
think about
like
it.
ball caps, hats you could put right in the hat.
Yeah, I used to wear a hologram in the back of my golf hat all the time when I was playing golf.
Did it
That'd be
improve
the
your
best
game?
part.
Yeah, it can help your concentration. I mean, that's part
Does
of
it make
it.
a
Yeah.
difference whether it's in the front or the back? Is the back
There you
better?
go.
Oh, that
I
was-
generally use the back because it's right above the spine.
Okay.
Oh, the opening. Okay, so I'm not sure how much time we have left, producer, but how much more time we have here? Because I want to get into a subject about veterans. Veterans is, oh my gosh, it's near and dear to me. I've been working with veterans now for 15 years, and what I've experienced, there's no bigger hero in the world than our vets. And I know you're a veteran, so thank you for your service. The frontal lobe of the brain, most of your injury, your blast injuries are the frontal lobe, which is your short-term memory. So what can we do to support mental illness, and what can we do to support cognitive function with either CBD, or what tests have been done, if any, regarding quantum?
Well, the CBD oil, I think, would be a tremendous first step. We're working on a research project right now with a group outside the country that I can't talk about, but it's specifically targeting PTSD, anxiety, depression. It's a way to use our scalar technology with a different material to be able to create some help for the people that are suffering from this.
Well, we're going to be working with the veteran treatment courts across the country, and they're looking at ways to help these poor veterans that go to jail, and they're on either drugs or drinking, and that there's nothing right now. There's no alternative. They're on the drugs, and if they go off the wagon once, they're done. They can't be a part of the program. So we're trying to implement the Triple Crown within our veteran court system and also the main court systems, because they've done studies, and it shows 45% of our inmates have traumatic brain injury. So that's why they come out and they keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again, because their brain is broken. It's basically broken. So through oxygen therapies, we're able to open up those neural pathways and bring the oxygen and blood into that part of the brain. So I just wanted to know how we could administer or contribute through quantum and through CBD to the protocol we're already doing. So if you guys are doing something like that, we would love to be a part of that because our veterans are now the suicide rate. The suicide rate was over 100 a day before this quarantine.
Oh, it's off the
In the
chart.
country or just
Yeah.
here?
So, oh no, it's probably doubled a day in America. It's probably over 200 a day a veteran. So, Fran,
To deal with that, we use an immune formula right now in our bands that also has a new type of water that we're dealing with. It has ATP in there, but it's more targeted for the EMF side of things. But all we've got to do is reformulate if we're trying to go after other
need to do
targets
that.
like that. And it's just a matter of working out the formula and see what's going to happen, what's going to work.
It'd be so huge. Fran, I know you had it before we go.
Warren, what differentiates your CBD from others on the market?
Scalar programming. As far as I know, we have the best technology in the world for imprinting substrate materials, bar none. A lot of other little claims out there. We've proved ours in IRB controlled, double-blind, crossover, placebo-controlled studies at major universities. There are none of the other companies out there that have done any of that. So we know that we're very effective in programming materials, and CBD oil is one of our favorite materials to program because it accepts the program so well.
And is your CBD organic?
It's totally organic. Totally organic.
All day long, she's asking that question everywhere we go to restaurants. Is that organic?
Favorite topic.
Yeah. Actually, we're in this to such a degree that we're helping the country of Hungary establish their CBD platform for the whole country. So basically, every farmer in Hungary will be going through programs that we've set up over there right now. We're in the middle of that process. So we've done all of our work with the Hungarian government, with the farmers. Our partner over there is an unbelievable business guy. The Hungarians are really smart people. Their science foundation, bar none, they've got Nobel laureates running around all over the place over there. So I'm really excited about what we're doing. Plus, Budapest is one of the coolest places you're ever going to
Isn't it,
go.
though?
It's great.
And it's two cities on each side of the river.
Budapest.
We're gonna be doing a lot
We don't know
of right. We're gonna do a lot of
Never been to a
traveling.
hot spring there. It's
Fair-
really nice hot spring.
Okay, in closing today, again, we're going to recap. We have officially launched the Triple Crown of Health and Wellness. We go to the website, soulfulrosie.com. You can click on the little button there, and it'll take you over to the Triple Crown of Health and Wellness site to do all of your research. This actual experience today was created because we're having a special story, a feature story in My Vegas magazine, and we're here to do a photo shoot for that, and it'll be on the stands in November. But what better way than to giving the gift of health for Christmas this year? I can't think of a better thing to do this year than to give you and your loved ones a way to not only heal yourself, but to extend your telomeres. Oh, that's another conversation. But to be able to reverse the aging process, and the producer's laughing over there, but it's all good. So with all of it said, any other comments, any other thoughts and goodbyes or whatever? Anybody want to say anything? Are we done?
No, we'll get off on a whole nother.
Yeah, I know, we'll get a whole other tangent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we are now the TC Review Board. And we thank you so much. Again, this is Dr. Janet Franco, also known as Soulful Rosie. And take care of yourself and your family. And remember, when love and intent align with the mind, body, and spirit, we create the art of soulful living. Thank you so much. God bless and take care. Bye-bye now.